Hi everyone, we are ready to go for our 7 o'clock writing workshop on the theme of transformation with David Cottis.
This is mostly a writing workshop. You'll be doing quite a lot of writing during the course of it. So the first thing I need you to do is to make sure you've got something to write on and something to write with. This workshop, like as Lita was saying, is on the theme of transformation. That's quite a general title. It doesn't really say anything especially very specific. I mean, you could argue that all stories are about transformation in some form or another. But I'm going to be looking at it particularly in terms of adaptation. This sort of follows on from the previous workshop that James Kenworth took. Because like James, I've written quite a few adaptations. I've written adaptations, particularly for the stage. For those of you who don't know me, I'm lecturer in script writing here at Middlesex. I teach primarily on the film programme, so mostly these days I teach screenwriting, but my background is actually in the theatre. I have been a director and a playwright within the theatre for about 30 years now. And a lot of the work I've written as a playwright has been adaptation. So I've adapted a lot of novels. I adapted Oliver Twist for a cast of 5. I adapted Cervantes' Don Quixote. I feel like I'm in a great tradition in adapting Don Quixote because I realised as I adapted it that it can't be done. It is a book that cannot be adapted for any dramatic medium. It can't be adapted to the theatre, it can't be adapted to the cinema. It does not work in a dramatic medium because it's about a character who doesn't change. And that is inherently undramatic. He causes other people to change around him, but he himself does not change. And that's the whole point. And I feel that I was in a great tradition of failure there because Orson Welles tried to make a film of Don Quixote and he failed. Terry Gilliam tried to make a film of Don Quixote and he eventually got the film made. He tried and tried for decades to get it done and failed, and then he eventually got it done and it wasn't very good. So he failed and I failed as well. So I feel I'm quite proud of the fact that Orson and Terry and me, we have that failure in common. But I have written some successful adaptations as well, and particularly Oliver Twist, which has been done a couple of times now. And I want to talk briefly about that because it illustrates 2 things that I'm going to be looking at in the course of this workshop. When you're adapting a text that was written in another medium, so if you're adapting a novel for the stage or for the cinema, or equally if you're adapting something from, from say radio to theatre, for instance, you often find yourself in a position where certain things have been laid down for you. There's a certain amount of, there are certain places that you know you're going to be in the course of the journey. So for instance, if you're doing Oliver Twist, even people who've never read Oliver Twist have a certain idea of what's in it. You know, they know that it starts with somebody holding up a bowl in a workhouse and saying, "Please, sir, I want some more." Okay, so you know that's got to be there, and you know there are certain other things that are going to have to be in the adaptation, unless you've got a very, very good reason not to put them there. And part of what you do in terms of the process of adaptation is you work out the ways of getting from one place to another. So that's something we're going to be looking at in this workshop today. And the other thing is that even in writing an adaptation, and I think this is true of all writing, the most interesting moments are the moments where you surprise yourself, where something happens that you were not planning. And I'll give an example of this. As I said, this adaptation was for 5 people. That was kind of the main idea of it. It was very much an exercise in storytelling with a small cast. And that led to some interesting things. Now, at one point, roughly halfway through the novel, Oliver Twist has been taken in by the kindly philanthropist, Mr. Brownlow, and given a new suit of clothes and rehabilitated. This is after he's taken up with the pickpockets and thieves run by Fagin. But Brownlow takes him in, he takes him away from all that. and gives him a new life. And unfortunately, one day when when Oliver Twist is out from his house at Brownlow's, he meets his old friends, his old criminal colleagues, I suppose you'd call them. So Bill Sykes and Nancy and the Artful Dodger, and they kidnap him. They take him back to Fagin. And Brownlow is left thinking that this child who he's taken in has run off with his money. So he puts an advert in the paper saying, do you know anything about Oliver Twist? And this is read by Mr. Bumble, who is the warden of the workhouse that Oliver Twist originally came from. He was the person that Oliver asked for more. And Brownlow writes a letter, sorry, I beg your pardon, Mr. Bumble writes a letter to Brownlow, it's that way round, saying that Oliver Twist is a complete bad egg and that nothing good will ever come of him and you shouldn't waste your time with him. Okay, fine. The only problem in this adaptation was that Bumble and Brownlow were played by the same person. So I thought, okay, how am I going to have Bumble writing a letter and Brownlow reading it? How am I going to solve this? And in the end, I came up with an answer, which I think was fairly obvious. He sat down, so Bumble sits down, starts writing the letter about how Oliver Twist is a terrible person. And then halfway through it, he turns into Brownlow. The actor becomes Brownlow reading the letter. So you've got an almost cinematic effect. You've got this crosscut from the character writing the letter to the character reading it. But because they're played by the same actor, it's really theatrical and it's really effective. And when I solved this problem in my head, I thought, this is great. This is a really neat solution. And a lot of people said it was their favorite moment in the play because it was really playing on the fact that I only had 5 actors and I'd got myself into a problem. So the most interesting moments I find in writing are the moments when you surprise yourself. And that's even true when you're writing an adaptation. Okay, so that's those are the things that we're particularly going to look at today. So what we're going to do is this is a workshop I've never done before. This is a completely new one. So you're having a new experience here. This is from a thing which I bought a few years ago called, I don't know if you can see it, it's called the Writers Toolbox. And I think it's American. I picked it up secondhand. And what it is it contains a number of things which writers can use to give themselves inspiration. So there's a thing here, for instance, called a protagonist wheel, where you can spin it. I don't know if you can say that. You can spin it and it suggests the occupation and the name of your protagonist. And there are things called Sixth Sense cards, there you go. And you can draw one of these and it'll give you inspiration for your writing. Okay, blue index cards, the piece I've just written. So what you do is you think about blue index cards and what are the associations of those and what does that set off in you? So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use these things, which are sort of story sticks. And there's 3 sets of them. This one is these are called FS. These are called NS, and these are called LS. Now that stands respectively for first sentence, non-sequitur, and last straw. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give each of you 1 stick, metaphorically, because I'm going to have to do it all virtually. If we were doing this face-to-face, I'd be doing it literally, but in this case, I'm going to do it virtually. I'm going to give you a first sentence, and you're going to start writing a story from that first sentence. Just go wherever it goes, okay? Just don't try and impose too much on it. Just see where that first sentence takes you. After a certain point, I'm going to stop you, and I'm going to give you another stick. I'm going to give you one of these NS, non-sequitur sticks. And what they do is they put something new into the story. It's a non-sequitur. It's something that doesn't follow. So it's a bit like that element I was talking about what's being surprised by something. So you're going to carry on writing the same story, but you're going to incorporate that non-sequitur into your story. And then finally, after I'll give you another 10 minutes or so to write, you're going to have the last straw stick. And what the last straw stick does, it's the thing that causes the end of the story. It's the thing that, it's the last straw, in the sense of the last straw that breaks the camel's back. It brings the story to a crisis in some way, up to you, okay? And these sticks, the LS sticks, it says in the booklet, are very useful for people who are reluctant to put conflict into their story. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's the basic form of this workshop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this by the simple method of the alphabet. So okay, Amanda, can you hear me? All right, so this is your sentence. This is the opening sentence of your story. Are you ready? Write this down. After only 2 months, comma, Helen decided to become an exotic dancer.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and you can start writing. As soon as I give you your sentence, you can start writing. I put it in the chat as well. Okay, so next, Irina. Irina, can I see you?
Sorry, my internet is a bit buggy.
Okay, no problem. Your first sentence is, my brother did this weird thing with turtles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. I'm just putting them in so you got them as well. Okay, next, Jennifer. Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, your first sentence is, there she was, Amy Gerstein, over by the pool, kissing my father.
Okay.
I'm enjoying these so far. Okay, right, let me just put that in the chat. As you probably gathered, these are American, hence the slight Americanization in the phrase, but let me just put that in, kissing my father. Okay, next, who's next? That was Jennifer. Kate. Kate, can I see you? Hiya, Kate. Okay, I put tulips under all the pillows and then I set fire to the house. Okay. Right, Larissa, I believe you're next. Can I see you, Larissa? Okay. Oh, nice one, this. Okay. Charlotte ate green peppers all day long. Okay, and Tom, I think you're the last one. Hi, Tom. Okay, here comes your sentence. Oh, quite a long one, all right. On Tuesday, Margaret told me she liked the little oranges with the seeds better than the ones I bought. I hated her for that. I'm going to put that in because that's quite long. Okay, there you go, Tom. All right, so you've all got a first sentence. Carry on writing. And I'll stop you after about 10 minutes and give you a non-sequitur. Okay, and carry on writing, but as I call your name, put your camera on and look at me. and I'm going to give you a non-sequitur. So I'm going to give you something that doesn't follow, that is going to take your story in a different direction. You're going to incorporate this into your story somehow, whatever way you like. So we'll go in the same order. So Amanda. Hi there, Amanda. Okay, so your non-sequitur is, I cheated on my spouse and it wasn't the first time. Okay, there you go, Amanda.
Thank you.
No problem. Irina.
Yes.
Hello. Okay. The plane was 2 hours late.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Jennifer.
Yep.
Hi, Jennifer. She found a diamond bracelet in the back of the car. Okay. Kate.
Hi.
Hi, Kate. No, that one's too American. They were all the same, I decided. Larissa. On Tuesday, she asked me the most peculiar question. And Tom. Margaret had this habit of spitting. It began to get on my nerves. There you go. Oh, that's weird. That's very weird. Both of yours are about Margaret, aren't they? That's very, that I did not arrange that. Okay, folks, just one more thing. So now I'm going to give you all a last straw card. So this is the thing that is the last straw. It's the thing that causes the crisis that will bring your story to an end. And I do want you to end it. Okay, I'll sort of give you a call when we've got just a couple of minutes left. So same routine, we'll just go alphabetically. Amanda, are you there? Yes. Hi, Amanda. Okay, the last straw was the time Fred went to the car wash and never came back. That's your last straw. Okay, Irina.
Yes.
Hi. Okay, the time he invited his mother to dinner.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
Yep.
The day Lillian learned to drive.
Okay.
Kate. Hello, Kate, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, good, good, okay. The day I lent Martin £400. Just realised I've been doing all of these as direct messages. Oops, I'll type them out again. Okay, later. Okay, so the day I lent Martin £400. Larissa. Okay, the stain on the wall. And Tom. The time Leslie called me a leech. I'm glad it wasn't Margaret again. That would have been weird. Okay, I'll just put the ones that I accidentally put in the...
I already put them.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Because you realised what I was doing. Thank you. Okay, so take another 8 minutes or so and try and finish your stories. Okay, and that's everybody back, it looks like. Good. All right, so how was that? How were your stories?
It was good. I really enjoyed writing mine because it was like a genre that I don't usually write in. I was speaking with Jennifer about it and I was like, I usually write magic realism and stuff like that. But with this one, it sort of from the start when it was like, I put tulips under all their pillows, then I set the house on fire. From then I was like, it's gonna have to be crime. So I just went straight with the crime and like arson and setting this woman setting her boyfriend and their family's house on fire throughout. But I really enjoyed doing it.
Great. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Anyone else got any thoughts or feedback or whatever?
I had quite the opposite end, Kate, because I kind of right away I had in my head that I'm going to write crime because I write crime. So I was making everything just for it to be crime.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to remember, what was your first sentence?
My first sentence was with the belly dancer.
Oh, the exotic dancer, yes. Oh, okay. Oh, I suppose you could write a crime story from that. I suppose that follows. Okay, good. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? You probably won't get a whole story that you can use out of this exercise. That's not really what it's about. You know, it's not really about the finished product. But what you might get is you might get some ideas. You might get a bit of writing that you're particularly pleased with. You might get something, well, a bit like you were saying, actually, you might get something that pushes you in a direction that you don't normally go. I did a bit of research about the woman who created this, and this is her website. I've just put her website in the chat if you want to chase her up. She's quite an interesting person, and you can get copies of this. You can find them on Amazon and eBay and places like that. It sort of ties into a whole thing. We were talking about this a little bit while you were away, while you were in the breakout rooms. Lolita was talking about story cubes. Does anybody use story cubes? You know what they are? Anyone? Just looking at anyone's faces. Okay, Lolita, do you want to talk about story cubes?
Yeah, basically story cubes are exactly that. They're just cubes with little pictures on it, and you basically, throw them and just make up a story from that. So the original one, you can get it in like 9 cubes, and you've got all the cube, series with like fantasy, crime, action. So you can really go like quite broad with it. we find it really nice because then, you know, you can go with maybe that just 3 cubes and you can just throw them and just do a story from that, or you could use all 9, which is actually quite nice. I use them myself, and I use them even for my kids, and we have quite a bit of fun with that. So yeah.
So if you're interested in that, Max has just put a link to their website in the chat. So thanks for that. Thanks for that, Max. It's all about the same thing, really. It's all about bringing an element of the random into your writing, bringing something that takes you away from the kind of thing that you habitually do. Because, and I think particularly at a university where we're in danger of elevating the conscious mind to the only source of creativity, because, you know, at university we are training our conscious minds. That's what they're for, really. And the conscious mind is great, but it's not all the equipment that we have as writers. The unconscious mind is also really, really important, and it's useful to find things that can set it free, that can give it a bit of a shake in this way. So things like bringing any kind of randomization into the process is really good. And the Surrealists were very big on this. They were very big on creating art through juxtaposing things that didn't necessarily go together. So are there any questions? Not necessarily about what we've been talking about anything really, or anything that's relevant to the subject. Okay, I do not see any questions. So I think that takes us, it's just after 8 o'clock, so I think that takes us quite neatly to the end. If you do think of any brilliant questions after the event, this is my email address, nice easy Middlesex email address. So yeah, if you do have any queries, feel free to send me an email. And I think that's everything. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Have a nice evening.